Good morning, everyone. So, here's what we have so far. And now, what I thought we'd do is we'll try to arrange it into coherent pieces. So, if we go to our editor, then right now, our entire page is living in our app.js file. And as we can see, if we were to continue on adding our other pages in here, then this entire app.js file would be a huge mess. And so I want to create dedicated pages for each of our content. Now, one of the philosophies that I have about coding is that you should never overcomplicate things. So I usually work on something until it starts hurting or until it starts feeling kind of icky, I guess. So the reason I put everything in the app.js to begin with is because I didn't want to introduce complexity before it's actually needed. But now we have a lot of components, we have a lot of things going on, and it just makes sense to extradite this into its own component. So let's go ahead and make a new folder in source called pages. And inside of pages, we'll create a dashboard folder and a dashboard.jsx file. And then we'll copy all of this, remove that from app, and move it over to our new dashboard component. Now we're going to have to make some changes here. And we'll put this in a fragment. Like this. And let's go ahead and grab all of this. And we'll put that inside of our dashboard component as well. And then we'll have to fix all of the paths. So it will no longer be in /components. It'll be in let's see. So 2 down and inside components and header. All right. So let's go ahead and fix up all of these paths. So we get our imports correctly. And then we'll fix the styling as well. And what else? I think for now we'll take the helpers file and we'll put it with the dashboard, because currently all of the helpers are being used in the dashboard component. All right. So that makes it so we don't have to fix these import paths, but we do need these styles. So we're going to create an dashboard module.css, and then we're going to go to app module CSS, and we'll take all of those, delete this file, and we'll put it in the dashboard module. And now we need to fix the import path here from app to dashboard. And let's see. So we have the data here, and we're importing that. But I actually want to do another approach now. I think I want to put the data into state in the app.js component, and then I want to feed that through to the dashboard. So we're going to go ahead and remove that from here. And we're going to go to app.js. Or you know what, just for now, we'll keep this and we'll add the correct import path. And we'll import it into app.js first, just to see that everything is working as it should. So now in app.js we have nothing but an empty shell. So let's import our newly created dashboard component and hit save. And we have a problem locating the stock list component. All right, let's go back to our dashboard. And so our stock list is in components and stock lists. Let's go ahead and see what's going on here. Let's check the path again. All right. So now it's complaining about the helpers. So let's just go ahead and check the helpers file. And let's just refresh and see what happens. So in source, there's no helpers file. Sure, that makes sense. If we're still importing that in app, we're not. So let's hit save. And let's see, are we using the helpers anywhere else? Didn't think so. So I think the reason it's freaking out is because our web server was still running when we did this. So let's restart the web server. And as a good rule of thumb, you always want to have your web server off or restart it whenever you do changes to the file structure of your file system. So let's go ahead and see when this refreshes if we get our page. And at least now we get another error message. And the reason it's freaking out now is because inside of the components who uses our helpers, we no longer have the correct import path. So it looks like it updated automatically, but probably we need to save it. So sometimes VS Code will update your import path automatically if you change something in your file structure, but you still need to save the file in order to pick up on that. So let's go to our browser, and it looks like everything's okay here again. Still not a fan of this. Is a little bit too big, I think. So let's go ahead and just go over to our stock list, and we'll see, check out the heading, go to our CSS file, add a new rule, and we'll say font size, var, and I can't remember, so let's go and check H1 font size, and I do think that seems way too small, so I'm gonna say 1.5. And let's say font weight normal. And that's a little bit better in my opinion. And another thing I noticed is that I think this green is a little bit too dark for the background. So I wanted to brighten it up a little bit. And I think that'll work just nicely. So let's go to index CSS and we'll swap out our exchange green with this hex color. And that will brighten up our greens a little bit. Okay. What's next? Let's see. Right, so now inside of app we have our dashboard, but now we want to feed the data into this component via the app state. So we're gonna go and get use effect and use state from React, and then we'll head over to actually we'll just import data from data.js, and we'll say exchanges and set exchanges equals use state, and it's going to be an array, empty array, and I will say const stocks, and set stocks is going to be use state, and that's also going to be an empty array. And now we want to do use effects, and we're going to give it an empty dependency array for now. And inside of here we want to put exchanges and stocks into date from our data set. So let's just say make a function called get data, and basically it's just going to take the data from our data file, and we're going to say and we're going to do set return changes and stocks. So basically in here we want to get the data, and we'll say and then we want to do, whoa, that's not the correct one. So this is just simulating the data fetching function that we're going to implement that is going to talk to our API. So here we're just getting the exchanges and the stocks from this function basically. And what we want to do is we want to put that into the app state. So we'll say that we'll set exchanges and we'll give it the exchanges, and then we'll set stocks and we'll give it the stocks, and then we'll console log the stocks and the exchanges, and we'll take a look inside of our developer tools and see what's going on. Alright, so we have the array of stocks and we have an empty array. So I think I misspelled the exchanges part here. So let's have a look. So data dot exchanges, and then getting that there, we're returning it, and we're setting it. So, of course. So it's an array of 0 when it's booting up, and then after it's getting the data, then down here we can see the data is in the app state. Okay, so now that we have our data, we'll plug that into our dashboard. So we'll go dashboard, exchanges, and we'll say exchanges, and then we'll say stocks is equal to stocks. So now we have plugged that into our dashboard, and that means we can remove the data from the import. So we're no longer directly importing the data. Now it's getting fed to this component through our app, and we need to remove all of the references to data, and we need to extract those properties from our props object. All right, so with that done, we have a problem. So right now we have a problem because we're trying to do operations on something that doesn't exist, because when we boot up, the array is empty, and we need to make sure that we actually have any objects to operate on. So let's go to calculate dividend stock current year in our helpers file, and we'll go ahead and we'll say I think we'll do this a couple of places. Say if the sorted data length equals 0, we'll just return, and we'll put that in here, and we'll say sorted by compounded, and we'll do that here, and we'll say sorted by growth. And we will do it here. The 0 will return. All right. So let's go and see if that fixes the problem. So in the so in our top 5 dividend stock lists, we have an issue now. So in our dashboard, we're passing that to this function, and we of course want to return an empty array so that our functions don't crash. Let's see. Just going through and making sure I hit all of these. So let's go and see. All right. So now we have our data set behaving properly again. And actually noticing something right now, I want to take these and make them into tickers. So let's go to our top 5 dividend stock lists, and we'll say stock.ticker here. All right. Okay, so I think I'll leave it there for this one. And then in the next video, we'll get started on implementing React Router. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see